So this is Christian from Northeast 360. We're out on our 4-mile hike. As you can see, the snow is melted, so we got some warm weather. But today's video is going to be about headlamps. And there's a few different ones, and the Night Buddy, got a couple of Energizers, and then I'm also going to show you my newer quality stuff and the difference between rechargeables, AAAs, AA's, different types of systems, and the benefits and the pros and the cons of them. And then we're going to talk about, if everyone is familiar about Light the Night, this is what I've had forever in my bag, which is a Night Core, lightweight, uses AA's, and just we'll have a talk about, you know, what the benefits of a flashlight, headlamp like that, or even like this, which you have a Milwaukee rechargeable, and how so many people talk about in these prepping videos about, I love my rechargeable headlamp because I carry a battery bank and I can recharge them. Well, the reason why I have my Night Core and the newer one that I have now, and we'll discuss those, I'll pull out the table and we'll do that. But while we're talking in the woods, while we hike, because I'm going to get some footage hiking in the dark. Because what a lot of people don't realize when you're a prepper, or, you know, an Adirondack hiker, or you're going to do the trails and the mountains and hike for several days, you know, we all know when hiking, weight's a factor, right? So is how much battery capacity that you take. And a lot of these guys just take a 2800 watt hour or amp hour battery with them in a small solar panel. Well, hey, yeah, true, I can hike all day, charge that, and then when I need battery power, I can charge my devices. But you gear up for your 3-week-long trek in the wilderness, or you set up your bag, and in case of my wife's bag, I had that first little, cool headband style thing that has red light, white light, projector light. It's rechargeable. She keeps a battery bank, all that jazz. And then all of a sudden, when we went to go use it, it didn't hold the charge. And that's something that you got to really look at. Is if you're gonna buy a rechargeable headlamp, don't skimp out, right? Don't skimp out on what you buy, because we lost a tree. If you skimp out on what you buy, you're going to run into problems. So in the case of why I only use my Milwaukee headlamp when I'm camping, sorry if it's loud, we're by the road still, is because it doesn't always hold the charge, and it doesn't always charge up to capacity. Now with the Milwaukee, I can just go and buy another Milwaukee battery and throw it in it. But as we all know, Milwaukee is expensive, so I don't. That's why in my get-home bag, or / bug-out bag, the new one, I have a AA Night Core headlamp. And I will show you it on the table, and you'll see it once I break them out and use them. It's a single battery. My son just saw deer, so we can get them in frame, we will. Yeah, they're nibbling and stuff. See all these little berries? They're coming in and they're eating these berries because it's that time of day. Back to it. So I have a night core. It's an upgraded one from the one I showed you. The one I showed you has 2 batteries. The one that I have now is a single. It's super lightweight. Works extremely well. So far, so good. We'll put it through its paces, and we'll get more into detail on the different suggested lights on the table when I get home. I'll do a little add-in, probably right after we look at white light versus red light. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, is white light versus red light. Now, and what your exposures are. You might be able to see them because the grass is up here. If we can get some deer on the photo, that'd be good, but not today. So, with that said, once it gets dark on our trip, we will reconvene and show you the difference. From a distance, what white light does, if you're trying to move in the dark, and when you're bugging out, you kind of want to move in the dark. If you're in the wilderness or even if you're on the streets. And a white light is just that. It is a bright, huge beacon for everyone to see. Now, not everybody can afford infrared night vision, so what's every common guy gonna go to? And it's gonna be a headlamp of some sort. Now, headlamps are key and they're critical because it allows you to use your hands. Keeps your hands out of the situation, and wherever you're looking is where that light is going to shine. So when we get into it, why did I pick what I pick, and why do I suggest 2 major brands? One, super cost effective, and it's going to be Energizer. We'll talk more about it and why. And Nightcore, and why, if you can afford the extra bucks, go for it. They've been around for years upon years in law enforcement. So with that, we're going to get on our hike. We're going to bang it out. We're going to get nice and deep in the woods, and then we're going to use headlamps. We're waiting on you, son. We're over at the river, at the bird blind, waiting on it to get dark. Cool. Let's come over here. It's beautiful though. It'll get dark once we go back into the woods. And we'll pop on those headlamps. But I figured take a minute and enjoy what the Father has given us out here. I was hoping to see some deer. We saw a hawk earlier too. Beers are making their dam. Alright, so it's starting to get dark. And from my perspective of the trail, so this is illumination in red light. As you can see the trail pretty decent, but projected it's less. Alright, but it's enough to say look at a camera, look at a map. Red light is very important when you choose that headlamp, because if you're trying to run and get out of somewhere, you don't want to put out a whole lot of signal, and that's essentially what light is. It's signal. So if I'm walking in the dark and I can get by with just red light on the ground, I'm going to do so, especially if I don't know what my security is in that situation of walking. It's just enough light so that I don't trip over rocks, big holes. But does it project out? No. That's where your white light comes in. So now we're projecting. And every headlamp usually has different settings. Now your signature is ultra bright light, and it projects. So at a distance, if I were looking for someone walking at night, you're going to show where you are real well. Now that's whether you're walking because you're hiking, you know, hey, I may want to have that ultra bright setting on because I'm doing my hike, I'm doing my ultra marathon up in the hills and the mountains. So I really want to project, make sure I'm on that trail, or like we are, say this is a bug out situation, I'm lighting up and making sure, one, I can see animal threats, I can see people threats, you know, like you're clearing a hallway in a house. Headlamps work brilliantly. And if you're not concerned about wild beasts or anything like that, you don't have to go to that red light mode. But if you're unsure of your surroundings, like I'm hiking where I normally hike, right? So I'm very sure of my path. But if this was a bug out situation, you hear something in the distance, do you want this bright light? Or do you want to dim it down? Or do you want it off? Or on red? I prefer as low emitting light as possible, because if you got that bright white light on and say the battery dies, you've lost a lot of your night sight, your ability to see in the dark. And there's one thing that red light really, for me, and if I am trying to walk in nature and maybe get that glimpse of a deer or something of that in the dark, one, animals tend not to see this type of light as a threat. You're not putting out a massive amount of light, just doing the bare minimum, right? And it works. I can see my ground perfectly fine. I have two other people with me, my son and my wife. You want to hit your light on, bud? Already. Go up for it. You can see as he walks, this way, go to the right, stay on the trail. You can see how much he projects, and he stands out between my red light on him and his ultra bright white light. Now he's wearing a generic Energizer AAA headlamp, and they work great. Battery life is pretty good, you know. But when you come to think about what you're purchasing, think about availability, batteries. What's the first thing that happens in a major hurricane? Gas goes off the shelf, food goes off the shelf, or blizzard, batteries go off the shelf. So do I want a headlamp that takes 1, 2, 3 batteries, like in my flashlight for my duty light, that projects, and I mean it, it projects, like you can see it for over a mile because it's 1200 lumens? Or do I want a low power, just enough for me to be safe? So these are things to think about as we trek. Eventually, I'm going to turn on my white light because we're not in a hostile environment, and I can film better. But these are things that you got to think about. What and how much am I projecting? And in a few minutes, we'll do that and have them go about 8 yards in front of me and show the difference between the two lights. Because the wind's catching up. We might get some snow. Yay! You're not out in harsh elements with heavy packs in full gear, because I am in full gear. The only thing I don't have is a long gun. So, you're not training. Get out and do so. Learn to hike in the dark, because if the grid goes down, guess what? You're hiking in the dark, even on the street. We'll reconvene in a moment. So we're doing the white light, red light test. All right, let's give me some light. Red light. So that's the signature. See how it barely lights up where they are. So you see that little red light off in the dark. All right, give me white light. See the difference? Look at how much he produces. I can see his white light a lot more. Now, if you think about it as you're trekking, that white light is just a beacon. The red light puts out less. And the closer I get, the more his signature is. But when I put on my red light, you can see I don't put out that much. It's only a couple of feet of light. Where his, I could see that for over a mile. So that's food for thought. So our next part of this video is going to be on the table, and I'm going to show some popular lights. All right, so we're here at the table. We're going to have 3 different piles here. In our 3 different piles, we have affordable. Can find anywhere. You can go to your Home Depot, your Wally World, your Bass Pro. You can find these Energizer headlamps everywhere. They're super durable. We have more higher end, and then we have extremely expensive but proprietary batteries and do not trust. Okay, so with this headlamp here, we got it. It worked. You know, rechargeable, internal battery, USB through USB-C charger. And does it function? Sure. Functions great. Super bright. It had the red light that we wanted. You know, a spot if you needed to do detail work, and flashing and off. Great little headlamp. But charged it up, put it in my wife's bag for her get-home bag, and we went for a walk, and guess what? It didn't hold its charge. This thing holds its charge for about 3 or 4 months, and then it's dead. which brings us to, well, you know what? We have battery banks and everything else in our bag, but when you need light, you tend to need it quick. And it's just not a quick option. So when you buy your headlamps, and not that this is a bad headlamp, it works and it does all the things that it says it does. I would not want this on the, on a trail doing an ultra marathon or doing a 5-day backcountry hike, because it may work, it may not work. So, great Timu brandy kind of thing from China, Chinesium. Then you look at something like this, Milwaukee. They're known for their toughness, but Milwaukee uses their proprietary battery. So to really, not that it's not good, it's an excellent, and it's super bright. It does not have a red light feature. I don't know about their newer headlamps. They may have a red light feature. A lot of guys are doing the red light feature. It also needs to be maintained. And if you don't properly maintain lithium lights, things like this, they're not going to hold their charge, and eventually, just like on drill batteries and everything else, these die. The good thing about it is it's cry once, buy once, cry once. Well, no. These batteries are stupid expensive. To get a replacement battery, it's just not worth my time. Great when I'm working on the car, or we're doing a camping trip where I can charge it up and I have backups upon my backups, but for 125 bucks, that's a pretty expensive piece of paperweight if it doesn't work for you and you don't have time to charge it. So when I'm looking for something to save my life or use my life, use in a bug out situation, I'm not trolling for anything that's rechargeable. All right? Nor if I want to go do the Adirondack Trail, I don't want anything that's rechargeable. Even though I can charge it and I have the ability, you're going to wait an hour, stop in the middle of darkness and wait an hour to charge it? No. Next comes super affordable. This is an HD Energizer. They're everywhere. Hell, I think you can even find these at like grocery stores, which makes them super common. This is just white light. 3 settings, big, all 3 beams, super high, and the quality of light that it produces is excellent. This is what my son was wearing on the trail today. But it does not have red light. Now, Energizer figured out a lot of hikers like red light. A lot of guys going out for hunting will tend to go to their hunting blind with a red light, so it does not disturb their environment. They came out with this version. This is the HD 325, so I believe that stands for 325 or 323 lumens. The best part about this flashlight is you get all of the high-end flashlight abilities, because when you turn this one on, it diverts to red light first, and it puts out a great red light. You can see how bright it lights up my hand. And its other settings, you just toggle the one switch. 4 white light settings, 1 red light setting, and you pick it up for $21. And it will most likely come with Energizer batteries in it. If they're alkaline batteries, you want to strip them out. You don't want to use alkaline batteries in anything that you're bugging out with. Anything that's going to sit more than 2 months, do not use anything alkaline. Use a lithium-based battery like Duracell. Duracell makes lithium-based batteries. I believe I have one, in here. That's not going to degrade, rust like this will, due to hot, cold sitting in your bag. Always try to use lithium batteries. They just take to weather better. But this is super affordable. 21, 22 bucks. This, I think I got it for $15. So on an affordability standpoint, they both do wonderful work. I love the red light feature. Now, what I used to have in my bug out bag is this. The reason I chose a headlamp that's not AAA batteries, because I like to go to what is most common. All right? AAA batteries are super common on all of our household clickers and stuff like that to turn on televisions. But AA batteries rule. They're everywhere. You can't go to a single grocery store, gas station that won't have at least AA batteries. So my entire kit in my bag runs off of two types of batteries. AA's, and I also keep some spare 123s for my weapons lights. This system takes two Duracell lithium batteries, super quick positive change button. It's not the best bright light, but it's got a great dim, so if you got to look at something, read something in the dark, but you don't want to screw up your night vision that bad, it's got a great dim setting, and it's got a great high speed setting. And if you triple click it, it will strobe. So say I need to signal someone, I can do so. And then you have your off. It's a little limited, but Nightcore, a lot of law enforcement use it, and they've made their bread and butter in law enforcement. I have had this thing fall down a 25-foot ravine, hitting every rock, and it still worked. And it still works to today. The reason why I changed, it's a little heavy. This weighs almost as much as this big ass headlamp. All right. It's a little heavy. It's 3 straps, and you know what? No one really wants to have 3 straps on. Can I take the center strap out? Sure. But it didn't have everything I wanted. It didn't have the red light. So that's why I made a change. Now, will I still keep this? Yeah, because this is now going probably in my vehicle as my camping light. Move on to this. This is the Nightcore AH11. It does everything. It is super lightweight, and one of the things that makes this so light is it is only run off of one Duracell lithium battery. Super lightweight. I was walking in the video and you couldn't even feel this on my head. It toggles, so I press my on button right to red light instantly, and it's not a super bright light. You saw I was able to see and walk in total darkness and put out very little external, hey, look at me, light. Press the button again, and it diverts to the white light. And it is extremely powerful. And it also has a strobe setup if I want to hold the button down. Click the button again, right back to red light. Hold, turns off. Excellent headlamp. I would recommend this, and my whole family will eventually get these. They're a little bit more expensive though. This was, I think, on Amazon I paid 30 bucks for a headlamp. But for someone that's doing ultra marathon, hiking trails to get in, like, hey, I accomplished it. I hiked Mount Washington. That's a local mountain. It's the highest peak mountain in the East Coast. They're going to go for that good gear. And when you're backpacking, ounces matter. there are some guys that go down to how many grams does this weigh. So that's just food for thought. Another reason why I purchased this flashlight is this band comes off, and there is a hook that comes in with the kit, and you can hook it right to your pack. So it can be an alternate light on your pack, on your strap, and you can wear an additional headlamp. So that prepper mindset of 1 is none, right? 2 is 1, 1 is none, 3 is better. That's why I have 3 sources of light on me at all time. I usually roll with 4. I have this in my bag. I have a backup flashlight in my bag that takes the same battery. I have my weapons light, but we're never going to point that unless it's a situation. And I usually have my law enforcement light on me at that time. So just a breakdown. Hey, suggestions. We're building our bags. We're getting ready for a long-term hike. Just my suggestions on headlamps. It was brought up recently. Red light versus white light. I figured I'd touch base on that from my perspective. Back to the video. Alright, this is Christian from Northeast 360. We're done with our hike. Hope you guys enjoyed what I was talking about on the table. Get out, get in the weather, rain, shine, snow, light, dark. Use your tools. As you saw, I fumbled a little bit with my brand new headlamp. Use your tools, practice it, and get out there. So, this is Christian from Northeast 360. Keep moving forward.